I never thought the guy who spilled coffee on my notes during our first lecture would end up being the one who turned my world upside down. There I was, freshman year at UCLA, scrambling to jot down every word from Professor Harlan's intro to psychology class, when Jordan plopped down next to me with a smirk that screamed trouble. "Oops, my bad," he said, not sounding sorry at all as the brown stains spread across my notebook, forcing me to start over while he chuckled like it was the funniest thing ever. From that day on, Jordan became my unavoidable desk mate, the kind who borrowed pens without asking, whispered dumb jokes during exams, and somehow always managed to distract me just when I needed to focus. I was Alex Thompson, the straight-A student from a small town in Texas, raised in a family where hard work and keeping your head down were the golden rules. My parents had sacrificed everything to send me to college, expecting me to graduate with honors and land a stable job, maybe in counseling or something safe. Jordan, on the other hand, was from LA, effortlessly cool with his messy hair, vintage band tees, and that infuriating confidence that made everyone notice him. He majored in film studies, always talking about indie movies and social issues like he was going to change the world single-handedly. First, I hated him. Every class, he'd lean over and comment on my handwriting or ask ridiculous questions that derailed my thoughts. "Dude, why so serious? Life's not a test," he'd say, grinning as if my frustration amused him. I tried switching seats once, but the lecture hall was packed, and somehow he always ended up beside me. It was like fate was playing a cruel joke. But as weeks turned into months, his annoyances started to feel less like attacks and more like invitations. He'd share his notes when I missed something or bring an extra coffee. Black, no sugar, just how I liked it after overhearing me order once. "Peace offering," he'd wink, and I'd roll my eyes, but secretly, I appreciated it. Our first real conversation happened after a heated debate in class about nature versus nurture in human behavior. Professor Harlan posed a question about how societal pressures shape identity, and Jordan jumped in, arguing passionately that ignoring one's true self for the sake of fitting in was a form of self-betrayal. I countered, saying stability and family expectations often outweigh personal whims. The class ended with everyone buzzing, and as we packed up, Jordan turned to me. "You really believe that? Playing it safe forever?" His tone wasn't mocking this time. It was curious, almost challenging. I shrugged. "It's how I was raised. You can't just throw everything away for a feeling." He nodded thoughtfully, then invited me to grab lunch off campus. I don't know why I said yes. Maybe curiosity, or maybe I was tired of eating alone in the dorm. Over burgers at In-N-Out, he opened up about his own life. His parents were divorced, his dad a conservative lawyer who disapproved of Jordan's artsy major, and his mom an activist who encouraged him to be outspoken. "I've always felt like I don't fit the mold," he admitted, staring at his fries. "But pretending? That's exhausting." That lunch marked the beginning of something I couldn't quite name. We started hanging out more, study sessions that turned into late-night talks about dreams and fears. Jordan pushed me to question things I'd taken for granted, like why I suppressed my interest in art to pursue psych, or why I avoided parties because my parents would freak out. He was openly gay, something he mentioned casually one day while we walked across campus. "Yeah, came out in high school. Rough at first, but worth it." I nodded, acting cool, but inside, it stirred something unfamiliar. I'd never thought about my own attractions. Girls were what was expected, and I dated a couple in high school without much spark. As midterms approached, tension built. Jordan's pranks lessened, replaced by genuine support. He'd quiz me on flashcards, his hand brushing mine accidentally, or was it? One evening in the library, under the fluorescent lights, he looked at me differently. "Alex, you're more than this perfect student act. What do you really want?" His words hit hard, echoing my growing doubts. That night, I lay awake, replaying our moments, feeling a pull I couldn't ignore. But society doesn't make it easy. Back home, my family was traditional, church every Sunday, no room for deviations. My older brother had married young, started a family, the picture of success in their eyes. If they knew I was questioning, I shoved the thoughts down. Jordan and I were just friends, right? Yet, when he texted me memes at 2 a.m., my heart raced. The conflict simmered, unspoken, as the semester wore on. One day, after a group project where we paired up, Jordan suggested we celebrate with a hike in the Hollywood Hills. The views were stunning, LA sprawling below us like a glittering promise. As we sat on a rock, catching our breath, he turned to me. "You know, you're not as uptight as I thought." I laughed, but then he added, "I like you, Alex, more than friends." My stomach dropped. The words hung in the air, a line crossed that couldn't be uncrossed. I froze, mind racing with fears, family, friends, future. "Jordan, I don't know." He nodded, hurt flashing in his eyes, but he didn't push. The hike back was silent, the first crack in our budding connection. That night, I avoided his calls, burying myself in books. But the seed was planted, and ignoring it only made it grow. The weeks following Jordan's confession were a whirlwind of avoidance and internal turmoil. I'd spot him in class, our eyes meeting briefly before I'd look away, pretending to be engrossed in my notes. He stopped sitting next to me, choosing a seat across the room, which somehow hurt more than his annoying habits ever did. I told myself it was for the best. Focus on studies, keep things simple. But every lecture felt empty without his whispers or borrowed pens. My roommate, Mike, noticed my mood swings. "Dude, what's eating you? You look like someone kicked your puppy." Mike was a frat guy all about parties and hookups, the opposite of me. I confided a little, saying I had a falling out with a friend. He laughed it off. Brothers fight, then make up. Unless it's some gay drama or something. His casual joke stung, revealing the undercurrents I'd been ignoring. Was that how people saw it? How they'd see me? Pushing through, I threw myself into extracurriculars, joining a psych club to build my resume. There, I met Sarah, a junior with similar ambitions. She was smart, driven, everything my parents would approve of. We started studying together, and soon it turned into dates, coffee, movies, the works. It felt safe, predictable. "You're so grounded," she'd say, and I'd smile. But inside, it rang hollow. Jordan's words echoed. Playing it safe forever? One evening, after a date with Sarah, I ran into Jordan at a campus coffee shop. He was with a group of friends from the LGBTQ+ alliance, laughing freely. Our eyes locked, and he excused himself, approaching me hesitantly. "Hey, Alex. Long time." His smile was forced, polite. We chatted awkwardly about classes, but the tension was palpable. As I left, he said softly, "If you ever want to talk, I'm here." I nodded but didn't call. Thanksgiving break loomed, and I headed home to Texas, eager for familiarity. My family greeted me with hugs and home-cooked meals. Mom's pecan pie, Dad's stories from work. But over dinner, conversations turned to my life. "Any girls at school?" my mom asked, eyes hopeful. I mentioned Sarah, and they beamed. "That's our boy," Dad said, clapping my shoulder. My brother chimed in about his kids, the perfect life. I felt like an imposter, smiling through the unease. Back at UCLA, the distance from home amplified my confusion. Sarah and I grew closer, but every kiss felt like going through motions. Jordan, meanwhile, seemed to move on, posting on social media about alliance events, advocating for queer rights. One post caught my eye, a rally against discrimination, with him holding a sign that read, "Love is love." It stirred envy and admiration. Why couldn't I be that brave? The turning point came during finals week. Stressed and sleep-deprived, I bombed a practice exam, panicking about my GPA. In a moment of weakness, I texted Jordan, "Need help with psych notes?" He responded immediately, "Sure. Library in 30? We met, and it was like old times, quizzing, joking, the chemistry undeniable. As we wrapped up, he asked, "Why'd you ghost me?" I hesitated, then spilled it all. The fears, the family, the uncertainty. Jordan listened, then shared his own story. Coming out to my dad was hell. He cut me off for months. But hiding? That was worse. His vulnerability cracked my defenses. "I think I like you too," I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. He smiled, relief washing over us. We didn't kiss or anything dramatic, just sat there, hands touching, a silent promise. But reality crashed in soon after. Sarah found out through mutual friends who'd seen us together. She confronted me in the dorms, tears streaming. "Is it true? You're gay?" The word hung heavy, accusatory. I stammered, "I'm figuring it out." She stormed off, calling me a liar. Rumors spread like wildfire. Whispers in class, stares in the halls. Mike distanced himself, muttering about not wanting drama. Jordan stood by me, but the pressure mounted. My parents called weekly, sensing something off. I dodged questions, but the guilt gnawed. One night, after a alliance meeting, Jordan dragged me to. A heated discussion erupted about societal acceptance. A conservative student argued that traditional values should prevail, sparking debates. I stayed silent, but inside, it mirrored my battles. As winter break approached, Jordan invited me to his mom's for the holidays, a safe space. I wavered, torn between worlds. Accepting meant embracing this new path. Declining meant safety in denial. The choice loomed, heavy with consequences. Winter break arrived like a storm, forcing decisions I wasn't ready for. I chose to go home to Texas, telling Jordan it was just for family time. "I get it," he said, but disappointment laced his voice. We parted with a hug that lingered too long, promising to text. On the flight, doubts swirled. Was this real, or just college experimentation? Home felt suffocating. My family noticed my distraction. "You seem different," Mom said over breakfast. I blamed stress, but my brother pulled me aside. "Heard from a friend at UCLA. Something about you and a guy?" My heart stopped. Rumors had traveled 1,500 miles. I denied it vehemently, but the seed of suspicion was sown. Dinner conversations turned pointed. Dad ranting about liberal agendas on the news. Mom worrying about my influences. I texted Jordan daily, our messages a lifeline. He shared photos from his mom's house, cozy gatherings with accepting friends. "Wish you were here," he'd write, and I'd ache with regret. One night, alone in my room, I researched online. Stories of coming out, the pain and freedom, terrified and inspired me. Back at school, Jordan greeted me with open arms. We dove into the spring semester, our relationship deepening quietly. Stolen moments in empty classrooms, walks under stars, sharing dreams. He wanted to go public, hold hands on campus. "Why hide?" he'd ask. But I feared the backlash, losing scholarships, family support. "Just give me time," I'd plead. Conflict escalated when a campus event on LGBTQ+ rights drew protesters. Jordan spoke at the rally, passionate and unyielding. I watched from the crowd, proud but petrified. Afterward, a group of frat guys heckled him, slurs flying. I stepped in, defending him, fists clenched. "Back off." The confrontation went viral on social media. My face plastered everywhere. My parents saw it. The call came that night. "What the hell is going on, son?" Dad's voice boomed. I came clean, sort of admitting friendship with Jordan, downplaying the romance. "He's gay, Alex. You know what the Bible says." Mom interjected, tearful. Dad threatened to pull funding. "We didn't send you there to get brainwashed." The line went dead, leaving me shattered. Jordan comforted me, but resentment built. "Why can't you fight for us?" he asked during an argument. "I'm trying," I snapped. The push-pull strained us. Sarah, now an ex, spread more gossip, painting me as deceptive. Friends divided, some supportive, others judgmental. Society's microscope amplified every move. Amid the chaos, a professor noticed my slipping grades and suggested counseling. In sessions, I unpacked years of repression, realizing my feelings for Jordan were genuine. But external pressures mounted. Jordan's dad, hearing about us, reached out to him positively for the first time, a silver lining. Mine, however, doubled down, sending articles on conversion therapy. The climax brewed at a family wedding, my cousins, back in Texas. Jordan encouraged me to attend alone, but I invited him secretly, a bold move. He agreed, nervous but excited. The trip was tense, we drove talking strategy. At the rehearsal dinner, introductions sparked whispers. "Who's your friend?" relatives asked, eyes narrowing. The wedding day, amid vows of eternal love, irony hit hard. During the reception, my dad cornered us. "This isn't right, Alex. Think about your future." Jordan stood firm. "Love doesn't hurt anyone." The argument escalated, voices rising, guests staring. I had to choose, defend us or appease. "I love him, Dad," I said, voice steady. Shock rippled through the room. Dad walked away, Mom in tears. The night ended in silence, Jordan and I leaving early. On the drive back, we held hands, a mix of triumph and sorrow. The fallout from the wedding was immediate and brutal. My parents cut off communication, no calls, no texts. Financial aid dried up. I scrambled for loans and part-time jobs. Jordan's mom offered support, letting me crash during breaks. "Family isn't always blood," she said, her warmth a balm. Back at UCLA, our relationship solidified amid adversity. We navigated campus life openly now, holding hands, attending events together. Support came from unexpected places. The psych club rallied, Professor Harlan mentored me. But hate lingered. Anonymous notes in my locker, online trolls. Jordan faced it too, but his resilience inspired me. Social conflicts intensified. A debate club event on same-sex marriage turned heated. I spoke up, sharing my story, arguing for equality. Opponents cited tradition, religion, echoing my family's views. "What about children? Society's fabric?" one asked. I countered with data on loving homes, but emotions ran high. Afterward, a conservative group protested, signs blaring, "Protect family values." Jordan and I stood against them, linked arms with allies, a united front. Personal growth came slowly. Therapy helped process guilt, affirming my identity. Jordan and I argued less, communicated more. "We're in this together," he'd say, pulling me close. But doubts crept in. Was the pain worth it? Friends lost, family estranged. A turning point. My brother called unexpectedly. "Mom and Dad are struggling, but I support you." His words cracked the isolation. He visited LA, meeting Jordan, seeing our happiness. "You're brave," he admitted. It sparked hope for reconciliation. As graduation neared, tensions peaked. Jordan landed a film internship in New York, asking me to join. Start fresh. But my psych grad program was in California, near potential family mending. The choice tore me. Love or roots? We discussed endlessly. "Don't choose me out of fear," Jordan said. "Choose what makes you happy." His selflessness moved me. Meanwhile, society evolved. Supreme Court rulings, pride parades, but personal battles raged. One night, after a pride event, we faced a direct threat. Walking home, a group shouted slurs, one throwing a bottle. We ran, hearts pounding. At home, shaken, Jordan broke down. "Is this what we signed up for?" I held him, vowing protection. It fueled my advocacy. I volunteered at the Alliance, speaking at schools. Family thawed slightly. Mom sent a birthday card, no mention of Jordan, but a start. Dad remained silent. The emotional toll weighed, but love endured. In our final semester, a class project on identity crises mirrored my life. Jordan and I collaborated, our film short about coming out winning awards. It went viral, drawing media attention. Interviews forced public declaration. Yes, we're together. Love wins. But controversy followed. Conservative outlets criticized, calling it propaganda. Supporters praised bravery. The divide highlighted societal rifts. As we approached the end, I reflected on the journey. From annoying desk mate to soulmate, the conflicts shaped us, forging strength. Graduation day dawned bright, a culmination of turmoil and triumph. Dressed in caps and gowns, Jordan and I walked the stage, cheers echoing. His mom beamed from the stands. My brother attended, a proxy for absent parents. Afterward, we celebrated with friends. Toasts to futures uncertain but hopeful. Jordan's move to New York loomed. "Come with me," he urged. I applied for transfers, but acceptance came with strings. Leaving California meant delaying family reconciliation. Mom had started texting sporadically, hinting at thawing. "Miss you," she'd write. "Dad?" Still radio silent. The decision crystallized during a road trip to Big Sur. Amid crashing waves, we talked dreams. "I can't lose you," I said. He smiled. "You won't. But don't sacrifice yourself." Logic clashed with emotion. Stability versus passion. Society's pressures amplified. News of anti-LGBT bills in states like Texas reminded me of home's hostility. Friends advised caution. Others encouraged boldness. In the end, I chose love. "New York it is," I told him. We packed, excitement mingling with fear. Settling in the city was a culture shock. Bustling streets, diverse crowds. I found a counseling job at a queer youth center, fulfilling my passion. Jordan thrived in film, our apartment a haven. But challenges persisted. High costs, homesickness. Calls to family went unanswered at first. A breakthrough, Christmas, my parents invited us home. Hesitant, we went. Tension filled the air, but over turkey, conversations flowed. Dad admitted struggles. "I was wrong to push you away." Mom hugged Jordan, tears flowing. It wasn't perfect, old views lingered, but a step forward. Years passed. Our bond deepened. We married in a small ceremony, rings symbolizing resilience. Careers flourished, me in therapy, him directing docs on social issues. Conflicts, plenty, debates on adoption, politics, but love prevailed. Looking back, that annoying desk mate reshaped my life, challenging norms, sparking growth. Society evolves, but personal battles define us. Was it right to prioritize personal happiness over familial expectations in the face of societal prejudice?